Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Ruth and I was just moving our shoulders there because we just felt like we just needed to move the old shoulders. Don't know why, but we both started doing it, so we thought we would follow through with it.
Exactly.
So it's really lovely to have you here, Ruth. Another certified high performance coach, everybody.
Yeah.
So that's what the people I've been working with and seeing today, introducing you to this week. And Ruth is a 2017 cohort of the high performance coaching. But as you know, all the high performance coaches that we've had on here are so talented at so many other things. But this is just one element that they use to enhance their work. But we just thought that it would be great to have Ruth on here today to talk about energy, because that is one of the fundamentals of high performance. And and you know all about that, don't you, Ruth?
I certainly do.
So it's just so lovely that you would take part of your bank holiday to really just kind of spend some time with us, and just elevating frequency, because at this time I just think that elevating frequency has become so important that we don't run into this form of social contagion, and that we just take charge of our energy. And I'm really excited. So hello everybody, my name is Nadine Benjamin. I'm a certified high performance coach. I am an NLP mind coach, which is neuro linguistic programming, neuro the brain, linguistic how we speak to the brain, and programming the kind of paradigms or the patterns that we set up that sometimes we find aren't working for us. And NLP uses that as a form of excellence. It's like excellence coaching. That's the only way I would describe it, actually. And then I'm also an international soprano, singing all over the world, and I love doing that. But what's at the seat and the foundation of what I love more than anything in my heart is connecting people, celebrating people, and championing people. And today, all those three of those things go to Ruth today, Ruth Allen. And Ruth helps leaders who have lost connection with who they are unchain themselves from what's holding them back, unlock the secrets to boost their mental clarity and performance, and unleash their full potential so that they can lead their family and team to the next level. Ruth has helped people with a wide range of brain health and high performance challenges, and her clients around the world have ranged from senior executives to young children to military and emergency services personnel. Ruth has over 25 years of coaching and mentoring experience, facilitating the recovery and boosting the performance of individuals, projects, and teams. Ruth has reached back to the Amen clinics in the USA, accessing a wide range of specialisms experienced in brain health imaging, from psychiatrists to nutritionists. And so it's so wonderful to have brain Ruth here. I've said brain too many times. My brain's gone funny. So as I always say, Ruth and I are not medical doctors or psychiatrists, but the tools or the subjects that we'll be talking about here are just here to enhance or for you to identify with and learn maybe a new concept or a new tool to bring you further forward in working things out for yourself. And we're really excited to be here. We really want to show up in this elevating of frequency and really knowing what it is to live a vibrant life. So hey Ruth.
Hey Nadine.
So what can you, as I've said to every single one of the high performers, what do you define as your version of high performance?
So I think high performance is really living into your best self and showing up as your best self on a consistent basis, and really understanding who that best self is for you and being that authentic you in the process. Because so many of us can really feel we have to show up as someone else, and we just don't. So it's really being you in that best version of you on a more consistent, and consistency is really hard, but on a more consistent basis, and getting to that level of consistency.
And I think that's what makes high performance so good, isn't it? Is that thing around consistency. It's not a peak and trough performance. It's really that everyday maintenance that really keeps us high performing, you know. So in light of that, what makes you a high performer?
Well, I think I would say I'm not consistent every day. I think it's really hard to be consistent. For me, I'm not always a high performer. Just put it out there. I'm not going to pretend I am all the time. But for me, being a high performer is living into my best self, and I know when I'm doing that is because I feel energized. Actually, you know, I feel like I'm on another plane in myself, and I know I'm living true to myself, and I'm moving towards my dreams. I'm doing that with the vibrancy, the energy, the clarity, and with, you know, if we talk about all the habits of high performance, I'm showing up with all of those in that moment and doing that all the time. That's when I'm living as a high performer.
So,
and
you know,
hard. It's hard to be a high performer. People say, "Oh, I'm a high performer," but when you actually, you know, you scratch the surface, is there not? Well, it's hard to show up as your authentic, true self with the energy that you want to have all of the time, you know, amped up all the time, and be that you. It is hard. So it's something that we need to practice, you know, daily, and not give up on ourselves in the process.
And that's, I really identify with that, because that's what makes, for me, high performance a way of life.
Yeah, too.
You know, because you can't, and I would like quibble with you a little bit, Ruth, because I actually know that you're a high performer every day. You might not hit all the 100 spots every day, but you hit a part of high performance every single day. Yeah, so that makes you a high performer. Done deal.
I've set very high bar for myself, and I'm consistently missing it. So I'm consistent. But you just keep moving the bar up, don't you? Once you get there, you elevate it another level.
Yeah, you do. I mean, yeah, exactly. And I think that is it, you know, and I think the other level is sometimes a sidestep, or you know, or a step in a new direction. It's not necessarily about amping oneself up to do more. Sometimes it's amping oneself up to do less.
Absolutely, yes.
You know, and it's being really honest in that space, and just holding yourself and what you're talking about, being your authentic self. So there are going to be days, like you say, where you just don't feel like it. But what's great about high performance is, in this tool specifically, you know, that you've got all these tools that you can dip into to readjust and make adjustments. As I always say to people, the only difference that makes us different coaches, you know, from, you know, a person who isn't a coach, is the fact that we've got more tools in the treasure box.
That's right.
Yeah. And so instead of it taking us 24 hours to get out of it, it might take us 30 minutes.
Or a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it's really showing that element of it all the time. But I really love that you're, you know, showing that humanity in coaching is that, you know, that we are human beings.
Exactly, we're not robots. And actually, you know, when I just reflect back onto my time in the corporate world, I actually sent my boss an email saying I'm a person, not a robot.
Yeah.
And you know, if you want me to talk about my experience in the corporate world,
please do.
Back in 2016, I was working in a very high-powered corporate firm in the city, and I hated it. And it just sucked the soul out of me.
Yeah.
And that year, I just gave up everything. Yeah. I gave up my free time. I gave up family time. I gave up my health to try and reach the targets that they set. Yeah. And my health really suffered. My energy level was really rock bottom. I had I really wanted to have a family, and I fell pregnant, and I had a miscarriage, and it was really traumatic time. And at that time I had a miscarriage, I was being badgered by my boss in the op unit, and he was just really well, nobody knew that I'd had a miscarriage because I didn't. It was embarrassing for me to tell people, because you just kind of feel like life's just supposed to go on, because it's just, I think some people, I certainly felt it's just part of the course of being a woman that you expect that you might have a miscarriage, but it's extremely traumatic experience, and I didn't want to show weakness, because being weak was like them. They could put, I felt that they could kind of dig a hole. So I always felt like I had to have really big, thick armor on to protect myself. And I just remember saying to my boss when they were badgering me about I couldn't put my timesheets in for the fact I was off sick, having had a miscarriage, and I was grieving. And my boss said, whatever he said, I can't remember. I said, I'm a human being, not a robot. Please treat me like a human being. And I just really remember that, because my employee number was 86239, and I just felt like a number, not a person. Yeah, and it was all about making the numbers and not really treating people as people, even though all of their corporate image was very much about being the company that helps people. It didn't feel like that. For me, it didn't feel like that. I felt really like a number being pushed around, and it's so destroying in the corporate world. And shortly after I had the miscarriage, the firm, although I'd met all of the targets they set me and smashed them, they told me I had no emotional intelligence. And so I felt it was a horrendous thing to say to anybody. And if you understand emotional intelligence,
exactly,
the last thing you tell somebody. But I felt I just hit rock bottom energy-wise. So I felt like a biological failure, because I obviously had a miscarriage. And then I felt like a total emotional failure. And just around that time, I failed my intelligence test with the military. So I passed it years ago, but I went to go for a selection for a particular part of the reserves, and I failed it, and I was horrified that this had happened, because I've got a PhD from Cambridge. So I just thought, my goodness, it didn't click that something was wrong with my brain. I know we talked about brains at the beginning, but it didn't click that I was in a real state energetically. I was in a state emotionally. I was physically, the work wasn't right for me. Mentally, I was hugely struggling. And spiritually, it wasn't, the job that I was in wasn't satisfying me. It wasn't what my purpose, didn't conform to my values or beliefs. So I know we're going to talk about energy today, is all of what I consider the 4 elements of energy, your emotional, your physical, and your mental, and your spiritual well-being weren't dialed in at all. And I just hit rock bottom.
Can you talk a little bit about, because what you've just I'm just honing in on something, because there are going to be a lot of people who have had to leave jobs or who are in jobs that they just don't like. And, and I loved being in the corporate world.
Yeah.
I loved it. I had so much fun. I was on the trading floor. I was in corporate finance. I soaked it up. I loved it. That was my world. Because it was fast. It was quick. It's just how I operated.
Yeah.
But for those who are actually sitting in a job that they don't love, can you just drill into that a little bit more? Because I think what you're saying is quite priceless, and people might need to just hear that a little.
Yeah, so I think, for me, when I joined the corporate world, I was in project program management, and I deliberately joined a firm that would move me, elevate me up. I wanted to I was running £100 million projects, and I wanted to go to billion, and my expectations were slashed on the first day when the big project was £1 million. That was like the smallest. I had never worked on £1 million project. That was super small, and then I was pushed back into what I really hated, which was project controls. So I much preferred doing the project management, the leadership aspect of it, and not the project controls, the sort of nuts and bolts, turning the wheels and aspect of project delivery. Even though I was great at it, I was considered a guru at it, but it just wasn't me. And so I just felt like I'd gone step backwards within 4 weeks of joining the firm, I just felt I'd gone back 10 years. It wasn't stretching me. I wanted to be, like you said, Nadine, it's fast and everything. It was fast, but not for my mind. It was really slow and boring and dull. And it didn't inspire me, didn't challenge me intellectually. It was just probably the worst job I could have ever been given. And I just got stuck in this. Ruth's an expert in this space. Go put Ruth as a project controller on this job, and that was just not what I wanted to do. And just I didn't have the energy. I can feel my energy levels dipping as I'm talking about it. It just didn't light my fire inside me. And I knew it wasn't right for me deep down. I was constantly complaining about it, but not actually doing anything about it.
And that's what I find a lot, that there's a lot of people that are complaining about that one thing a lot, but not doing anything about it.
So I would turn all of that energy I had into negative energy and whinge about it. And that would then show up. I was totally not the person that I am, that high performer. I wasn't there at all. And it shows, it just leaks. The negative energy leaks out of you, and that's what they reported on. All of this negativity was just leaking out I was like a sieve. I'm like a big bucket with a huge hole in it of negative energy. Whoa. Just like what? Like throwing it up everywhere.
And isn't it true, Ruth? It doesn't just show up at work, that energy. Then you bring it home. Absolutely. And then it shows in your friendships. It shows everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, it affects every aspect of your life. And that's absolutely true. Is it, having a miscarriage, I was really hard. And I completely didn't acknowledge that it affected my husband as well at the time, because I was so focused on my own pain that I didn't realise, just was in a mess. Having suicidal thoughts, you just go straight on yourself. And it was just really hard on all of the areas of my life. I was eating rubbish food, eating chocolate cake all the time, drinking coffee, double lattes, all of the fat in it. I was putting on weight. That made me feel even worse, and I didn't like my body, and it just became a cycle, using alcohol in the evening to calm myself down and get through the evening. And then it just became a vicious cycle. I'm sure many people are in that position where you just use those self-help tools that aren't very useful tools in your toolbox to get through the day. And it just didn't serve me. Alcohol kills your brain cells. It reduces.
And it's a depressant as well. Did you know that?
Say again?
It's a depressant as well.
Yeah, it's terrible. And obviously sugar. I actually, when I went to the Amen clinics and later, I'm addicted to sugar. So because I've grown up with sugar, I probably expect, I don't know what the percentage is, but I imagine over 70% of the population is probably addicted to sugar, because it's more addictive than cocaine. So I just used sugar as that kind of pick me up, but then you just crash straight afterwards. And it was just, I was just a mess.
Thank you. No, it's really great. And I know, thank you because we're going to move into the energy zone now. So, but I just really wanted you to highlight, where you've been, especially around this, especially in this time right now, because we want to see how people can really elevate that energy now from being in that space. So what does energy mean to you?
So I think energy is, it's like a bouncing ball. So when you've got no energy, you're just a ball that's stuck on the floor, that's just sat there and nobody notices it. But when you've got energy in yourself and you're vibrant, you are like a ball that can constantly bounces, and people bounce off, want to throw that ball around, because the energy that it has is you kind of want to share. So I think energy is, is you being that bouncing ball that wants to bounce all over the place, and it's okay to bounce all over the place. Yeah. And we all bounce in different directions, and that's absolutely fine. Yeah. And everybody's ball has a unique, amount of energy stored in it. It's just giving it that push to get it going, and you're the one that has to own the push. Yourself. You can't expect anyone else to bounce your ball first.
Yeah. So how does energy show up in your life then?
Oh wow. so it shows up in my family massively. I talk, I think I mentioned them briefly. So I always think about the 4 quadrants of energy. So
talk about them, please.
Yeah. So I know we talk really more about 3, but I like to split it into 4. So is your emotional energy. So what emotional energy you show up with, how you're feeling, checking in with your emotions each day, which is really important to do, because that's one kind of like the cornerstone of emotional intelligence, is understanding who you are and how you feel. And that's really important at this time, as we check in with our feelings. Our emotions, and acknowledging that they come and go, so they'll be different every day, and they'll be different throughout the day. But getting curious, not furious with them. We can get really annoyed with ourselves.
I love it. Getting curious, not furious. I love it. Hashtag. I'm going to put a hashtag there now, as well.
It's said a lot by Daniel Amen, but get really curious with why you're having the emotions you're having. Don't berate yourself about them. Just inquire, why do I feel sad? I gave a talk recently and asked people to write down the 3 emotions that they're having right now, and I would encourage all the listeners to do this and write those. How are you feeling right now? What 3 words would describe your emotions? And one of them wrote lonely. And they never how we show up to other people is not how we show up to ourselves. So it's really important to check in with who you are and how you're feeling, because then okay, I might feel sad, I might feel lonely, I might feel frustrated. How do I want to feel to other people, and more importantly to ourselves? And this is a high performance habit, isn't it? Is defining how we want to show up.
That intention.
Exactly. And owning the action that you need to take to shift yourself away from any emotions that you're having that aren't helping you, that aren't serving you.
So staying resourceful.
So that's the first one, is your emotional well-being, or your emotional energy, and that leaks like a sieve, because our emotions drive everything. They drive, that's the oldest part of our brain, our reptilian brain. So if we don't check in with our emotions, we're not in control of the decisions that we make, or why indeed we might make them. So it's really important that we do that. And that was, that's kind of like the cornerstone really of energy, is knowing how you're feeling. And then your physical energy, or your physical well-being, is what you do. So what you do from a job perspective, what you do from an exercise perspective, what you do in terms of your habits.
So, and what would you do?
What do you mean?
So in terms of your habits and that kind of moment when you're doing physical, so what would you do? Do you kind of do like stuff like, I don't know, exercise or meditation, or what's that thing that you do in that moment?
So every day I always like to check in with my emotions. So every evening I have a gratitude journal, and I write down how I'm feeling, and I get curious, not furious with them, and understand how they are. And then I check in what my achievements are for the day.
Yes, I love that. I always do that, and I think that's brilliant.
Because you could so often go, oh, I've had a really bad day. And actually, when you start writing it down, you go, oh, I did this. Oh, I did that. And your list starts growing. And, if you've got really low energy at this time, which some people really do have, and I totally get that, I've been there, is just getting out of bed in the morning is an accomplishment when your energy is rock bottom. So celebrate
it. Sometimes even just brushing your teeth.
Exactly. Get in the shower. celebrate that. Getting dressed, celebrate it.
Yes, yes,
you know?
yes,
And
absolutely.
you start feeling good about yourself when you celebrate those little wins, because little wins add up to big wins.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. So we've got, so we've done emotion, we've done
physical. So physical is your habits.
Yeah.
And which habits are helping you and which habits are not serving you. So, you know, my habits, I mentioned, like drinking alcohol in the evening was not a great healthy habit. And also eating chocolate cake consistently every day and loads of coffee to get through the afternoon when I had an energy slump. That wasn't serving me either, because I just put on loads of weight, and it's definitely not good for your heart nor your brain. So knowing what habits are helping and hurting you. And then your work, which we talked about, is what is it you do, physically do, you know, connection with, you know, in the community, at work. What is it that you do that's helping you generate energy physically? And if your work isn't helping you generate that physical energy, you know, that, you know, makes you want to be a bouncing ball, maybe it's time to reflect on those emotions that we just talked about. And what is work actually? How is it actually making you feel?
Yeah.
So
then you had this major transition from the corporate world into a coach, you know. And so in terms of work and that section for yourself, what did you find that gave to you from having that transition?
Belief. That self-belief, belief that I could do it, belief that the only obstacle that was in my way was me, and that I can be a master of my own destiny, and I don't have to listen to negativity. You know, I get to choose what I listen to. That's my choice. I get to choose my emotions. Or my feelings. Emotions come and go, but I can choose how I want to show up. And be selective in my hearing as to what's important for me to listen to, and what's serving me and what isn't serving me.
So when you say that you had that you realized that your brain wasn't right, did you actually have a brain injury, or was it just that you were actually addicted to sugar and that's what made your brain? Or I just want to just clear that up just a little bit, because I wasn't too sure.
Fine. And so what I noticed is I was really struggling with word recall. So my husband would constantly take the mickey out of me. So I couldn't remember what, I can't even remember it now, squashed peas, which were mushy peas. So I would always go, I couldn't remember the word for the shopping list, and it would come up with the descriptive word like squashed peas, because mushy peas are squashed rather than the actual word. So that was like, and forget where I put my keys, you know, struggling to get up in the morning. There were loads of warning signs with me having mental health problems. And then the real turning point was when I started having suicidal thoughts. And that's when I knew there was something wrong with my brain. But obviously I'd failed the intelligence test. I've been told I didn't have any emotional intelligence, although that wasn't strictly true. And so I just thought, wow, I'm, you know, midlife now. I want to have children. I don't want to be a burden. I need to get my brain checked in before I check out. So I wanted to know what I could do to, you know, to help my brain get better, so that I could strengthen my memory. And I do. And I'm sure many of us do. I'd fallen off bikes when I was little. I'd had skiing accidents, minor ones, no major head trauma to speak of, but it all stacks. And so I went to the Amen clinics back in 2019 when we were recertifying. Out there. So I went to the Amen clinics and got my brain scanned with a QEEG, which looks at the brain waves. And it's really good at understanding. I couldn't get a SPECT scan, which is the typical Amen clinic scan that they do, which looks at activity. But I was breastfeeding at the time, so I got a QEEG scan. And it showed that I had damage to my temporal lobes from multiple minor knocks on my head, which was affecting my memory. And I also I had overactive. I have a very active cerebellum, which is your processor of your brain.
Yeah.
And so I think really faster than I can talk. So sometimes my sentences aren't full because my brain's going too fast, which is frustrating for everybody. And then I have a anterior cingulate gyrus, which is part of your brain. It's like your gear shifter. So I can get stuck on negative thoughts or stuck on my own thoughts. It's like my way or the highway.
Wow.
And so I have to calm that down. And I also have overactive anxiety centers in my brain. So I have like, you know, I have just general anxiety. And so I use methods to calm that down too. So I have to help heal my temporal lobes and then also calm the other regions of my brain down, which I do through exercises I have in my toolbox and also supplementation.
Wow. Yeah. And you talk about not being a high performer on a consistent basis. Oh, no, you don't.
But you know, it's so important because when I discovered through high performance, I discovered Dr. Daniel Amen because he went to talk at one of the events that Brendan had, I think it was the Growth Summit. And I just thought, wow, this is joining the boxes between my background is in medical imaging. I did a PhD in medical imaging of skin cancer, and I always wanted to help people harness their full potential. And it just joined the dots between my personal journey, my career that I'd had, which had been quite varied, and I always wanted to go back to science, and so it was like a perfect match. And so I started reading all the books. Change Your Brain, Change Your Life was an amazing one. If you haven't read it, by Daniel Amen. And that then got me on the brain health journey. And actually, once I got on that journey, just in 2018, all when I sort of given up of having children, my husband and I were just about, we went ski touring across the Alps, and when we came back, I said to my husband, I think I might be pregnant. He said, oh, no, that's not, no, you can't be. No. And it turned out I was. And then 8 months later, our daughter Lily was born. But that was all getting my energy levels right and showing up as my authentic self and just making sure I was the right weight for my, for me, my goal was to hit 60, just over 60 kilograms, 61.4. I think I had it from about 15 years ago. That was when you go to the gym, you go, okay, what's my ideal weight? And this little ticker tape comes out. This is the ideal weight for your height and age and everything. And I'd never reached it. And I thought, right, that's my goal. And that was the goal I set as a high performer when I decided, right, I'm leaving the corporate world and I'm going to, show up as my best self. And just when I met that weight and I lost 14 kilograms, 27 pounds to get there, that's when I got pregnant.
Wow, that's such a beautiful story. That's, and it's that self-care. You went into your self-care state, you showed up for yourself, and you really took the journey, even though it was challenging, and you knew that there were going to be some major changes that you were going to have to shift. But you took that bravery badge and you just ran with it, and you took that leap of faith. And I just think, and then you were rewarded. You were rewarded with a little one that you always wanted.
And she's so cute. Oh my goodness, she was born on Christmas Day, so she's just turned 2.
Oh, that's what a gift! Oh my goodness.
Lily.
Lily, oh, that's so wonderful. So Julia Kwan is just saying, hello, lots of interesting tips. That's an interesting thought process in choosing what to listen to. Yes, if in a good and positive mood, there will be a certain people who want to bring that mood down to their level. We choose who to be friends with too. Sometimes one doesn't really know who they are, like they can be in another parallel universe, another inspirational story. It takes courage. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's so true. We talk about growth friends. So, your growth friend, you might not have any growth friends in your current life at the moment. And I knew in the corporate world, there were very few of them in the sort of bubble that I was in that really you were interested in my growth. And so if you don't have them, you go find them. And they don't have to be, don't expect them to be in your immediate circle. We've got great growth community and high performance community that we have, that we're all there to help each other grow. So don't think that you have to physically see a person and go and touch them.
Yes.
Touch their shoulder to say, oh, it's a growth friend, because you meet them online now. So you have to find people that got the same vibe, the same energy as you, the people that don't put you down. They're always there to lift you up. And go find those people. If you don't have them in your life, don't be afraid to go searching for them.
Yeah, and what's so great about you, Ruth, is that you got into the CHPC, the Certified High Performance Coaching community, but then when you recognise this thing around your brain as well, you got yourself involved in the brain health community, because you're now a brain health coach as well, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. And I actually certified whilst I was breastfeeding. So what do you do when you've got a baby that's, busy having their lunch, dinner, tea, afternoon snack and everything? Well, I balanced a laptop on my lap and did all the training online and trained to become a coach. So I thought, I'm not going to stop learning just because I've had a baby.
Yeah, exactly.
To really learn, to share the knowledge, spread the word,
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. Yeah. Yeah.
So you were gonna take us through a havening technique, weren't you? Which is to do with the brain and stuff. Could you give us like an example now? Whoever's here.
Yeah, that's fine. So havening is a psychosensory technique that uses the power of a havening touch to generate delta waves in your brain. And we all possess this ability from birth. So we're all naturally born with this. This is part of our inbuilt evolutionary system to help us calm ourselves down. It's an incredibly powerful technique. It's been shown to reduce cortisol levels in your brain, which is the stress hormone. It's been shown to reduce heart rate. It reduces blood pressure in your brain. It reduces activity in your brain. So it really calms your brain. It's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And it's done by literally using the power of human touch. And what happens is, just for those that not sure how your brain works, when you have a trauma, your brain goes into a heightened state of alertness. And what it actually does is it plugs these, what we call AMPA receptors, onto the surface of your brain cell, and they act like short circuits, so that when you have a similar experience, so say you see a lion and your response is, I need to run away, these short circuits are there so that if you need to run away again, they'll just fire up again and you'll go. And it just encodes whatever your body decides to do at the time of the trauma. It encodes that on your brain so that you can do that again. Now, that's not just applicable for trauma, that's applicable for everything in everyday life. So you'll have certain things that short circuit quickly, depending on how you want to show up. If you think about learning anything new, you can unlearn and learn things. Your brain is plastic. Neuroplasticity is a wonderful thing. So you can actually, through the power of havening touch, is you can depotentiate, i.e. unglue, these AMPA receptors that have been plugged onto the surface of your brain cell that have all the trauma encoded in it and what your response is at the time that you experience the trauma. You unglue it and send it back into your brain cell itself and completely remove that experience, that unhelpful emotional charge or the unhelpful response that you have, the somatosensory response you might have, which is all of your, getting sweating or heart rate, getting fast, any just, physical responses you have encoded as part of the trauma. It all just takes it away and calms your brain back down. So it's hugely powerful, and it's super important in this time that everybody should be taught how to do self-havening, because we can all do it ourselves and we can all do it to calm ourselves down. And it's pretty instant. So you can calm yourself down in 5 to 10 minutes just by using havening touch. So how does it work? So if you've got hands, great. If you don't have hands, then you can ask somebody to do this for you, because not everybody has hands. So, as long as you're having it applied to you, obviously that person, you need to give the person permission to do it. So do not do this for a trauma. You can just do this for reducing day-to-day anxiety. Please talk to a certified Havening Techniques practitioner for any trauma-related aspects, which I've helped people with PTSD and phobias, all sorts. But anyway, so let's go just for day-to-day anxiety. So the 3 methods that you can use is, as long as your hands are clean, so you wash your face, so you stroke your face, and that generates lovely calming delta waves.
Oh my God, I felt that instantly.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is
my goodness.
The most delta waves generated on your face. And if you're a mum or a parent or a carer, you might do this to your child. You might stroke their cheek to calm them down. You might have had this done to you by your parents, just to calm them down. And I've done this on my daughter. She was traumatized at birth because she was cesarean section. And I helped get rid of her nightmares by applying Havening touch to her face when she was having one, and they went away. So anyway, so it's a great one to do for kids if they're...
Oh, I love this.
And then the next one is stroking your shoulders down to your elbows, or you can go all the way down to your hands.
I know this one. Brian Colbert's done this one with me.
Oh, does he? Okay. So you can cross them over. You could cross your hands over on your face. Obviously, be careful, you've got rings. And then the final one is washing your hands, but not the 20-second hand wash. This is just the palm of your hands, okay? And that's kind of good for kids, for teens who might be getting anxious in school. You can do it under your desk. You can, nobody's going to know what you're doing, but it's a great way to calm yourself down, and it's brilliant if you need a wee, and you need, you need to take the edge off of it. And you're standing in the queue to go to the toilet, because I did this the other day. I was looking for new ways that Havening can help, day-to-day stuff. So just do this for a few minutes. I could have stood there for ages. Just take that urge away to go to the loo, and that's obviously driven by your brain wanting, makes you get more anxious, probably more cortisol running around your system.
Yeah.
So that's the washing your hands, and then what you do for self-havening is if you've got an anxiety that's happening through your day, just bring that to the forefront of your mind. Bring as much of it to your mind as you can, and then score yourself out of 10 in terms of distress level. Please do not do this if it's a trauma. Just do it for just day-to-day anxiety. And then what I'd like you to do is Havening touch, and I'd like you to take yourself away to your favourite place in the world where you love to go on holiday. And you take yourself away to that favourite place, and just imagine all of the lovely things that you can see in your view, and just look in front of you and just really soak in all of the sounds, the smells, the sights, what you can taste, what you can feel beneath your feet, what you can feel on your skin, what you can feel on your face, the warmth, temperature. Just sense everything in your most favorite place, and then take yourself on a walk in your favorite place, or if swimming is your thing, if that's what you like to do something that you feel safe doing. That's the most important thing. So we'll just go for a walk, and then count yourself 20 steps out loud for a nice walk in your favorite place, and just keep going for that lovely walk, counting out and just observing the beauty of the scenery around you, all the things that you can see, and keep havening while you're doing this. You can do this for your kids as well if they're stressed out, no problem. And then just keep sensing that. And when you get to the end of those 20 steps, just pause and turn round, and again survey the scenery, and then you can just turn around and go back the way you came, and you just repeat that process, this distraction, until you find the score has reduced in terms of your distress level.
Brilliant. Ruth, that's lovely. I love that. I especially like this one. I didn't realise it was going to have such a dramatic effect on me.
Yeah, and then what I say at the end of it is importantness is just say to yourself, safe, peaceful and calm. Safe, peaceful, and say it out loud to yourself so it goes, into your brain from a linguistic perspective. Safe, peaceful, calm. Safe, and do that at least 5 times just to feel the lovely void that you've created. Or you can just chant it out like a meditation practice. especially it's great for emergency workers who are struggling in these stressful times, anybody that's a first responder, any parent that is struggling, with the stress and the anxiety, with lots of, kids under their feet, or the stress of what the future might bring. Just take yourself away for 5-10 minutes and just let yourself do some lovely havening, go to your favourite place, whatever it is that is you're stressed with for the day, bring it to the forefront of your mind, and then do that distraction technique. And at the end, safe, peaceful and calm, safe, peaceful and calm, safe, peaceful and calm. And do that for 5 to 10 minutes, and that at a time, to get the full effect. And that should really help you.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Ruth. That's such a blessing, because I really feel the changing that, even
and you can really feel. Some people have a massive shift in energy, because what you find is all of the response that's encoded in your mind as a result of whatever emotion or mini trauma, shall we call it, that you've had encoded in that day, is being released as part of havening, because you're depotentiating it. You're getting rid of all of that unnecessary baggage you don't need to carry around with you. So some people get a huge energy release as it's just coming out of their system, because you can get a lot of energy stored up from major trauma as well as from day-to-day stuff.
So that was a really lovely physical way of dealing with energy. So is there 3 tips that you'd like to leave people with in terms of like getting more energy?
Oh goodness. So my top 3 are get some sleep as the first one. Number 1. Get sleep. It's the first thing that your body craves when you're sick. So it's the first thing you need to pay attention to every day. And there's no point in doing anything else. If you're running on half empty, you need to go sleep, because your brain washes itself at night, clears itself of all the toxins. If you don't give your body enough time to sleep, you're just not helping your body really, or your mind, because you never perform at your best if you're sleep deprived. It just doesn't, and it's a risk for Alzheimer's disease. It's one of the major risk factors. So sleep's the number 1 thing. And then the second thing is to exercise. Yes, exercise. And it doesn't have to be like, I need to go and, pump some.
To the gym.
Just get out and about. Do what you love. Find something that you love. And if that's running around your house in your underpants, great.
Exactly. I love having a 10-minute disco in the morning. Like, I literally put my favorite tunes on and I'm just like,
exactly.
Exactly.
So do some exercise, get that heart rate going up, and that will generate your important neurotransmitters, which is your dopamine to get you motivated, and also your serotonin to lift your mood, to elevate your happiness. So that's really important. That's the best drug on the planet is exercise. If we were given that daily, we'd all be doing a lot better than we are at the moment. And then the third one is eat food that loves you back. So not all food is meant to be eaten, and particularly in this over-processed world that we're in. So focus on foods that serve you and help you, because food again is medicine. And it's important. Me, myself, I suffered from sinusitis pretty much my whole life. I don't drink milk anymore. I haven't had any problems. So understand what foods hurt you and understand what foods help you. And we talked about alcohol. That's definitely not a health food or drink. So eat the things that love you back and drink the things that love you back. And that will really help elevate your energy levels.
Absolutely. I'm doing alkaline foods at the moment, Ruth, which is like electric foods.
Okay.
And so like I'll have like butternut squash soup, and then for like a dinner I might have a stuffed pepper with quinoa and courgettes and mushrooms and onions, with some like hummus, and then a green salad with like lime and olive oil and and some just a bit of sea salt on top. And that's my dinner. So it's like really electric, and and my body finds it really easy to digest. I'm not kind of fighting with my body, and I love that. I love eating foods that support my body. I do.
Exactly. It's so, especially where we are at now with the, with the pandemic, we need to be eating foods that are not inflammatory, because when we add inflammation to our system, we end up reducing our ability to, our immune system drops because we've got too much inflammation in our body. We drink alcohol, that kills our immune system because it kills the good bugs in our gut. It's so important that we focus on eating the foods and drinking the drinks that love us back, so we not only have the energy, but we protect our immune system. We're more able to respond to anything that gets thrown at us in life, whether it's this pandemic or just the common cold or flu. Is to boost our immune system. It's so important.
Ruth, it's been so lovely to have you. I'll just do Julia's quick. She says, I like that. Grow friends who celebrate each other's journey and success. Yes, this year has been a lot of online communication and learning. Thankful for that. And I'm thankful that we can do this online, Ruth. It's so wonderful. We get to see each other through our WhatsApp group. And we have these, every couple of months we all online on a group. It's great. So wonderful for all of us to just, and we're the UK CHPC cohort, so it's really lovely. And there's only a few of us. There's not many even certified high performance coaches in the world, and there's only a few of us that have been doing it over, I've been doing it 7 years, that have this, this whole sense of high performance really works. We actually all live it. We do live it, and we wouldn't be here, wanting to be here with you and to elevate your frequencies and to show you which parts and why they work for us if we didn't believe in it. So thank you so much, Ruth, for taking your time out. And where can people find you, Ruth? Because obviously you're a Havening technique person, you're a brain health person, you're a certified high performance coach person, you're a military woman, you're everything under the sun. Where can people find you if they wanted to have a chat with you? Or
sure. So they can go to my website. It's probably the first place to go. So Ruth Mary Allen, RuthMaryAllan.com. And you can register yourself for a consultation for Havening on there. You can, apply to do high performance coaching or brain health coaching. Or you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Ruth Mary Allen, RuthMaryAllan.
Put it in the chat. I put it in the chat. I love that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you're watching now or later, thank you all for being here. It's so lovely to share this space with you. Tomorrow I have another CHPC on with you. Actually, we've only got 3 days left of this CHPC now. We're certified high performance coaches. And then on Friday, on the New Year's Day, I'm going to have a metaphysical person on just to have her story and how she elevates her energy in the world. So thank you so much for being here. Once again, Ruth, thank you so much for being so honest, clear, open, true, authentic, full of wisdom, full of light, full of love, full of energy, and really in a place of service. I celebrate you and I salute you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Take care, everybody. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.